Next, a lawyer from Hackney has created a community group to help what he says are young people from non-traditional law backgrounds to get into the profession. The group is now celebrating its 5th year, and its founder, Tunde Okewale, joins me in the studio now. Tunde, thank you very much indeed for joining us. So let's talk about how you started out and how you got into the profession. You grew up in a working class family in Hackney. So what were some of the challenges that you came across?
Well, there were lots of challenges. First of all, there were cultural challenges because the profession is traditionally one which is reserved from people from middle-class backgrounds. It's dominated by white males, and I didn't come from neither of those backgrounds. So firstly, that was an obstacle I had to overcome. Unfortunately, I was able to do so.
And how did you overcome them?
I had a good supportive family, and I was able to learn a lot. So what I had experienced is that you could learn through observation and you could learn from instruction. So I sought a lot of advice from people that were already in the profession, and I just observed. And
of course, you're carrying that advice on to urban lawyers. So
that's correct.
How are you helping young people to overcome the barriers?
Well, I created an organisation, firstly, to assist in terms of educating people about their legal rights, and secondly, to inspire people to pursue a career in law. The way that's done is by giving them the soft skills that they need and teaching them some of the things that aren't necessarily articulated to those people from non-traditional backgrounds. So, for example, there are certain etiquettes that if you come from a traditional working class background, you may not be familiar with, that in fact you may need, because if you don't, it may be adversely held against you when trying to pursue a career at establishment professions.
And what were some of those etiquettes then that people were facing? What were some of those barriers?
Well, just for example, perhaps less commonplace now, there were certain rules about what types of suit you should wear. So, for example, you should wear dark-coloured suits, single-coloured ties, things like that. Also, very small things such as not buttoning up the small button in your jacket. So, small things like that.
So, are you seeing a change? I mean, you've been launched for 5 years now, so since you started, you set out to break some of these barriers. Are you seeing a change now, 5 years on?
Yeah, there's lots of changes. My organisation is one of many, in fairness, that are, championing diversity in the legal profession. And there's been lots of changes. There's still much more work that needs to be done, but certainly it's a very different landscape to the one when I first joined.
And so how can young people then get involved and get the help? Is there anything in particular that they need to do to qualify for your help?
Well, first thing they can do is they can follow us on social media, Urban Lawyers. We're on every single platform you can think of, and we do a number of events. So we host events sponsored by law firms, so individuals have an opportunity to not only meet lawyers, but have exposure to an environment that potentially they may work in.
Now, could sometimes, I guess, the backgrounds that people have come from, which is what you mentioned as well, but the schools that they go to can sometimes also be a huge barrier, can't it?
The schools that people go to can be a huge barrier. However, there has been a difference in terms of approach. A lot of law firms are, in fact, placing a greater advantage on people that have gone to less prestigious schools if they still have the requisite grades, because they envisage and appreciate that those individuals perhaps may have had to have part-time jobs, such as myself, and they've had lots of other difficulties, which mean they may not have been able to focus on their studies, as others may have had those opportunities.
And quickly, let's just talk about some of the case studies. So who are some of the people that you've helped, and where are they now? How are they getting on?
We've helped about, wow, thousands of young people. I'd say anywhere between 5 to 10. Every year I hear stories about individuals that have fortunately been given training contracts, pupillage. We gave away 4 scholarships in conjunction with BPP Law School, and we did a internship placement with Berwin Leighton Paisner last year, which helped people from non-traditional backgrounds get work experience in a very prestigious London firm.